Red Sox fans have wanted to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to be a tough play because the World Series. It's over. And the Cubs have fallen it all. 8-7-10.
Woo! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet. I am your host, Brandon Combs. Again, no Soup Boss, but tonight we are still going to bring the fire. We are going to be talking with Matt Benz and his ridiculous power rankings. I failed to call them power rankings because they're not power rankings. You got a 1 and 2 team in there. They are the lack of power rankings is what they are. But we're going to bring him out. We're going to bring on his buddy Mike Reeves here. We've got a full slate for you guys. Even though I don't have a Soup Boss here, I do have plans on other guests joining me as well. We're going to be talking a whole lot of baseball. Baseball playoffs are on, man. I got my baseball stiffy going. It has been an incredible day of baseball. Already an upset with the White Sox over the A's, as I predicted. But without further ado, let's get to it. Let's bring in Mr. Matt Benz. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, kid? Thanks for having me on. My power rankings are more than power rankings. They are the gospel, the truth, they call it in the streets.
They are the lack of power rankings is what we're going to call them, and we'll get to that in a minute, and everybody will chime in and let you know how lack of powerful they are.
Beautiful thing.
And also, welcome to the stream, Mike Reeves. What's going on, buddy?
Well, thanks for having me in on the third best sports show in America behind Twist and Mike on the mic. Good to be back.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Oh, Shazam.
Well, hey, look, I'll let you get away with it as long as you don't have the Saints, a 1 and 2 team ahead of 3-0
Hey, spoiler alert. We'll get there.
We'll
get there, Combs.
Whoa.
Come on. The bus ain't even started, and he's already putting me under the tires.
Oh, my God. It's unreal. All right. So let's get to the big news first. Before we get to the power rankings, your Vikings and the Tennessee Titans are being held out of their practice facility till at least Saturday. Now, I was on earlier with Michael Buckheister on the Mike and Mike Man Hour, and he started talking about it a little bit. And is it going to affect the NFL? Are we going to get an NFL season? Of course, we're going to get an NFL season. I don't know about you guys, but he even suggested that the Titans and Vikings will both play this weekend. Do you think that that's going to happen?
Welcome to the show. You already know it's Mike and Mike Man Hour, bro.
Ooh, hot bars. I'm going first here on this one. So I don't know for sure. I don't think the Titans will play this weekend as of right now. That's just my take on it. I do think the Vikings will play, but a take that I had before the season started was that I do believe that the bye weeks are going to shuffle when this happens, when things like this occur, because they're bound to occur. So I wouldn't be surprised if they moved some buys around, which would be interesting in of itself. But I don't see the season ending at any point. I mean, look what happened in baseball. There was the scare early on, and then they rolled with it. So I think the protocols will kind of weed that stuff out.
Well, plus this is the NFL. So, I mean, for one, they didn't release the names of the players who did test positive. So they're going to end up finding out that –
I think they just did. I think they
really?
just put some no-namers for the Titans on the
I was going to say,
COVID
you're going to end up
list.
finding out it's going to be the practice squad guys got it, plus the water boy, and then a couple other guys, and then the other guys are going to go and play.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
I do like the bye take that Matt has. The NFL is not just going to, they've already came out and said, we're playing Sunday. Backup plan is you're playing Monday. They don't care if, that's why the practice squads have like 1,000 guys on them this year, because they're just going to bring them up. They're going to call them up and games are going to go. And unless it's like a Lamar Jackson or a Pat Mahomes, or a Kirk Cousins, the games will be played. So I'm not too worried about it. The the NFL will solve the problem by not testing any longer, Green Bay, Greg says. And we've talked about that on Twist too. It should be under the table on one of the local sports shows here in Minnesota. They were talking about, some skullduggery going on, and, baseball is going to get it done outside of the bubble. I don't see any reason that the NFL isn't going to be the powerhouse that they are.
Yeah, there's no way this hurts the NFL. Even the worst case scenario, these two teams can't play this weekend. Worst case scenario, you're going to have a triple header on Thursday night. Worst case scenario. I just don't. There's no way. I mean, granted, you talk about bye weeks and stuff, but there's no way that you got 4 different teams unless they all have the same bye week. It would be kind of hard to make them play on their bye weeks to make up the games. But it's one of those where there's no way the NFL doesn't make it through this.
Hold on, let me yell at my new wife here, babe. They can still hear you. There you go. Good stuff. She's trying, guys. She's trying.
Meatloaf.
She's boiling eggs right now, trying to ask me how long to boil an egg. It's a great thing, man.
Hey, look, man. I asked you earlier if it felt weird before we got on, if it felt weird to say my wife, because look, I had just barely gotten used to it, and then I got divorced. So
oh no.
You're welcome, fans of Triple Shot Sports.
There you go. Wow, top notch.
But anyway, all right. So not only do we have that going on in the NFL, but also you have the Monday Night Football game last night. Was I thought it was going to be 55 to remember a couple years ago we had the Chiefs and the Rams go at it.
Oh yeah,
that's what I thought we were getting last night. And boy, was I disappointed. Lamar Jackson did not show up.
Yeah, you can't be disappointed with the play of Pat Mahomes. I mean, he just on that stage once again. The Chiefs are. Lamar Jackson came out and said it too. They're my kryptonite, which I was surprised he came out and said.
Yeah.
But Patty Mahomes just shows up again. 3 passing touchdowns, one on the ground. The rich just get richer with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had an off week last week, but he just showed. I mean, for being 5'7", that guy, his thighs are as big as Benz's whole body. He's just a beast, and he keeps moving.
Don't you feel like Lamar's comment of "there are kryptonite" is kind of like a la Pedro Martinez back in the day, that Yankees are my daddy, and just kind of lulling him to sleep before he comes to put him to bed in the playoffs?
I don't know. I don't think so. That team, the Chiefs, are just so explosive, and you can see it in the big games. Now, can they find balance throughout the rest of the season? When it's not big games, can they show up instead of constantly having to come back in those games? That will be interesting to see. But Patty is he's Patty, man, and it's so crazy when he just switches it on. Go ahead.
The thing with the Chiefs, too, is you have players, that were good before Patrick Mahomes. You have Travis Kelce. You have the Cheetah. So you have these players that are amazing and some of the best at their skill positions. And then you add probably one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in NFL history. And some of the play calling they have it doesn't even look legal. The screens and the motions that they're doing. It's like, where's the flag? He can't be running right and then left and then back. Like, what are they doing?
He was starting routes before the ball was snapped.
I've never seen anything like it.
If he comes at Baltimore with one more no-look pass, I think Baltimore at this point just does not know what's coming at him. That little flip to the fullback last night for that.
Oh man,
it was such just a brilliant play.
But that's the difference between the Chiefs and every other team, especially Baltimore. Baltimore has these weapons, but their best receiver, weighs 80 pounds soaking wet. Like, he doesn't have good hands. He's got good upside, but is yet to really show it. He put on, I think, 40 pounds before the offseason. But that whole offense revolves around Lamar Jackson. And I just don't think when it gets crunch time that he's proven, especially in the playoffs, that he's the guy to kind of do it. So it's troubling when you're any kind of fan in the NFL other than a Kansas City fan like Buck, because I don't realistically see any team walking in with expectations that they can compete with them. I mean, even Baltimore's got one of the best defenses in the league, and they played them okay, but it's
Yeah,
just
that's-
troubling if you're. I might just switch over to a Chiefs fan. We'll see.
Greg
typical.
Bauman says the Vikings would benefit if Captain Kirk gets the Rona.
Yeah,
So would
Bauman
Twist if Bauman
yeah.
got the Rona.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate
Lamar loses in January, says Michael Buckheiser, but you're a Chiefs fan, so you're going to say that. But they still ranked 4. LOL.
Thanks for tuning in, Buck. Good to see you.
it. Buck, I'll be on your show tomorrow. All right.
What
Keep
the
your
buck?
comments to yourself.
All right,
Jeez.
so let's get to it then. We've teased
Yeah.
it long enough. We're 10 minutes in. Let's get to these power rankings, Matt Benz.
Yeah,
So-
the highly controversial power rankings.
We are going to do like we normally do. We're going to go 10 to 6 and then 5 to 1. But this time, I'm going to go first. I'm going to let Mike go, and then I want you to go last
Oh,
so
you're going
that I
hard.
can scream at you.
The
I like that.
NFL power rankings from the formerly known RTF Sports Network in just a couple days will be the All Access Sports Network.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That
sir.
website will be going live to allaccesssportsnetwork.com here October 1st.
We got
Love
good
that.
things coming. My son chimes in, as always, with Go Cardinals.
Yeah,
Until
K1
they-
for life.
Do me a
Yeah.
favor, you guys up there in Minnesota, let me know what Adrian Peterson's address is so I can send him his way and get that Go Cardinals out of his mouth.
Hit him with the switch.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go 10 to 6 here. At 10, I've got the Arizona Cardinals. Look, the Arizona Cardinals are 2-1 right now.
What? You got him in your top 10?
I do. I got them in my top 10. Look, I'm not a big believer in Kyler Murray, but right now at 2-1, they made a believer on me. Kyler has done some stuff. He's showing that he can win. Granted, they did, lay an egg to the Detroit Lions this weekend. I get it. I get where people, but I have him at 10. I had him at 6 last week. They dropped down to 10. At number 9, I have the New England Patriots. Look, the New England Patriots are absolutely impressing me. Cam Newton is doing better than I thought that he would in New England. That the way that they are playing, that defense is playing without, the Patrick Chung and Dante Hightower that they lost, who held out due to COVID. It is absolutely amazing to me, and I think Bill Belichick is on his way to cementing his legacy as probably the best coach to ever step on the NFL field, even though I still think that, the guy whose name is on the championship trophy has a stake to that claim. But at number 8, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Look, the Baltimore Ravens dropped from 2 to 8 for me. That loss last night, 97 yards from Lamar Jackson. 97 yards from Lamar Jackson. This is a Chiefs offense that was getting lit up by a rookie in LA. So I don't know. Maybe Baltimore right now, heading into this next week, they've got something to show because they did not show it on Monday night. At number 7, I have the Chicago 3-0 Bears, led by Big Dick Nick. And I don't care what you say, they're 3-0. They're 3-0, and they're a 3-0 team. And I know you ain't laughing, Mr.
I am.
We'll get to yours.
Oh,
There's no
brilliant.
way that you can have a 3-0 team
Yeah.
not in your top 10. They're one of
There is.
7. They're one of 7 undefeated teams. They
That's
haven't
You
lost
got to get
yet.
a new nickname for him. It's Big Dick Eason for the Colts. He's
there
the
he
big
is.
dick in the NFL.
Big
That's
Dick.
Swang,
Dick.
man.
Dick
Swangin'.
Nick came in and led this team back. Granted, it was against the Falcons, and that's all they do is blow 16-point leads. But they did it, and so I've got them at number 7. At number 6, I have the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are, again, another team with a quarterback who's just shocking the shit out of me. I don't see them. Didn't see when he was in Miami, he was garbage, absolute garbage. And when he went to Tennessee and then they gave him that contract even after last year, I was like, what the hell are they doing? But he's fitting balls into windows that he looks like a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. The way that he is throwing the ball, he looks really good. So I have the Tennessee Titans at number 6.
He's fitting balls into something.
Yep.
They're 3-0, baby.
Oh, yeah.
3-0. All right, so go ahead, Mike. What do you got? 10 to 6.
10, I have the Cardinals as well.
Okay.
I'm still super high on them, but Kyler throwing 3 picks. That's not good. And they lost. So I still think they have good upside for the year. He'll work that stuff out. He's not a huge turnover quarterback. But yeah, they're my number 10. My number 9, Mike wins the best top 10, and I haven't heard anything. Yes. You should have seen Greg did his show, Green Bay Greg, prior to this, and he gets fired up. We all have our own spin-off shows, and he eases you into politics. By the end of the show, it's full bore politics. His vein is popping in his neck.
I can't do it.
Oh my God! Especially tonight with the debate coming up.
Oh,
too.
He's fired up.
He went from yelling at Kirk Cousins to just, basically giving the Lombardi trophy to Aaron Rodgers.
I had a couple people tell me they're watching that debate, and I think it was Benz I said, look, I'd rather get ass raped by a rabid raccoon than watch that damn debate.
Oh, it's going to be great. we call Greg on the show Sleepy Greg.
Yeah.
Oh,
basically.
my God.
Sleepy Greg. All right. So number 10 is the Cardinals. I also have the Patriots. I tend to agree that it was blown out of proportion. I think the Belichick versus Brady, who I'm going to leave and who's better. But it's Belichick. I mean, clearly the way that they scheme, for the players that they have on their team is, hands down the best I've ever seen. I wish my team could do stuff like that, knowing you don't have an offensive line. Well, maybe we'll scheme our team for quick throws or screens or, these things. And it's like Belichick is just a mastermind. So at 8, I have the Los Angeles Rams, went up against a Buffalo team that outplayed them and is just flat out better, but came back. I mean, they were down by 3 scores, I believe, early, brought it back. This Rams team is back from a couple of years ago. I think they're the real deal. So they are my number 8. My number 7 is the Titans. I thought that was a big win. Minnesota played really well. Benz and I agree that we're glad that it was a fun game to watch, but at the same time, we lost. This season's basically dead. But yeah, I mean, that was a big win by them. Their kicker, former Patriots kicker Gostowski just, kicked the leather off the ball all day. And really, we lost it. The Vikings lost it more than they wanted at the end. But, that pressure that they got on us, got them the W and not us. So good for them. And my number 6 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've mentioned this on your show before. I was kind of a wait and see approach on Ben Roethlisberger. Well, I've seen, he's back. And the Steelers defense is a top 3 defense in the league. And they're undefeated. So they're my number 6.
Beautiful.
Hey, I don't have any problem with that. I'm not a big believer in the Rams. I was a big believer in them last year when they started out 3-0 as well, and then they finished off 9-7. Jared Goff, I think that they play well with matchups. I think they play better with matchups than they do with, they take advantage of solid matchups is what they do. And they don't match up well with a lot of teams that they're going to be playing here in the NFC West. So it's going to be interesting. I'm just not a big believer in them just yet.
Well, fuck off.
Yeah, no, imagine that. Combs doesn't agree with a couple things on your freaking power rankings. Just wait, boys. Here we go. You want me to start?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, come on, Benz.
All right, at number 10, I have the 2-1 San Francisco 49ers. All right.
What about the 49ers is powerful?
That they just put up 420 yards and 36 points
on the New York Giants.
Okay, it's an away game for one. And who does San Fran have?
Giants.
Doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter one bit.
It does.
Nope. Not at all. No.
Oh, but the 3-0 Bears are a joke. Get the man.
They're the 49ers.
But
as they were in my power rankings last week.
They don't have Mostert. They don't have Kittle. Yep. They don't have their quarterback. What's powerful? Right,
and they still did 420 yards and 36 team in the league. Points.
But yeah.
Oh my God.
10 spot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're wrong. Go ahead.
At number 9, I've got the Tampa Bay Bucks after defeating the Broncos 28-10.
I'm okay with that one.
Yeah, they're my 11. So
Mine
shit.
too. Mine too.
Wow, I'm glad that Combs is okay with that one.
Yeah.
At number 8, I have got the New England Patriots.
Okay with that one too.
yeah,
All right, we're moving steady here. You ready
Here we
for
go.
number 7, Combs?
I'm
Nope.
about to lose my mind.
Lucky number 7,
the Saints.
the Saints.
How do you have a 1-2 team?
Yeah.
A 1-2 team.
And I don't have 2 3-0 teams in my power
How?
rankings this week.
What is your
He
reasoning?
doesn't have the
Because-
Titans.
My reasoning behind it is this. If the Saints would have played the Titans or the Bears last week, they would have beat either team.
You are out of your mind. That Bears.
Not at all.
You are because
Not
you're.
at all.
I think it's a Minnesota bias.
Hey,
You're
now.
afraid to put the Bears up there. That defense is absolutely insane.
I'm
And
not saying that. I'm not saying that.
All they were was not even a great quarterback, not even a good quarterback. They were a decent quarterback who could hit a wide open receiver away from being
Sure.
a contender in the NFC. And you don't
Okay.
even have them on your list, but you have the.
I'm
1-2
telling you
New
right
Orleans
now
Saints?
that the Bears against the Saints are not putting up over 30 points.
You're out of your mind.
Not happening
You're out of your mind.
with Trubisky or Foles.
And
Foles
the
as a
Saints
starter is
Scoring
hot
30
garbage.
points on the Bears.
What's that?
The Saints aren't putting up more than 24 on the Bears.
Oh yeah, that Packers defense is no slouch.
Okay.
Don't sleep on the Packers defense.
Okay.
So Saints, just wait. You'll see. I mean, it's not going to be a big thing. I mean, they got Detroit this week, right? So they should stomp them.
Yeah, so those 3-0 teams, man, they just must be absolutely
Not
horrendous.
saying they're
I don't get it.
garbage.
Yeah.
They're just not better than the Saints.
Yeah, they are.
All right.
They are right now.
As of right now,
Yeah, as of right now, they're better. The Saints are
Record-wise,
1-2, and
I
the
don't-
teams are 3-0. They're better right
record-wise,
now.
but power rankings wise, I don't
What
believe it.
matters? What gets you into the playoffs?
Talk about a bias with his fucking Cubs in the background and
Yeah,
his Bears
I understand.
helmet.
Your Bears are 3-0, but that
I'm talking the
doesn't make them
Titans for
better.
you. The Titans are better than the Saints right now,
The
too.
The Titans almost lost to a Vikings squad that has who?
But did they lose?
Whoa. We have a lot of people. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Come on.
They have a
Delvin
bad
Cook,
second. They have a bad
Justin
secondary.
Jefferson.
When
They've
it
got a
comes to
really good offense.
secondary offensive line,
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins getting 1.7
Their
seconds per
defense,
snap in the pocket.
their defense has been
Come on.
atrocious, but they
Come
do have a
on.
lot more offensive. But the Tennessee Titans absolutely deserve some respect, and you're not doing it by giving
Not
a 1-2
putting them in.
New Orleans Saints at number 7.
You got to put the Titans
sir.
in when they're an AFC championship team from last year who were 3-0.
I don't get it.
Understandable.
3-0.
You have the Niners because
There's
they
no
beat the damn Giants.
There's
San
no
Francisco
regression there.
49ers.
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
There's
I love
some,
it.
All right.
there's some
Who's number
CBD
6, Ben?
marijuana in that thing he's puffing.
I think there's a little bit more than that.
The
Jesus.
Seattle Seahawks.
Put your
are at
eyes
number
closer to the
6.
camera. Those are bloodshot.
Hey,
Yep.
let me ask you a question, Bez. I know you just got married, and I know you just came off your honeymoon. Just please tell me you have not watched a lick of football in the last 2 weeks, and you're just rearranging your power rankings from week 1.
You
No,
think he has?
straight up. Straight
He
up.
watched the lick.
Think I have it?
Fuck, he's got a cast on his cock.
Did you hear my number 6?
No, who's your number 6?
Seahawks, number 6.
What?
Oh, fuck. Jesus, fuck.
The reason why is just hold on. Let me go.
Sorry,
Let
it's
me
like
go.
team in
Little
football
Allen.
right
Let me
now?
go. Before Combs has a
Oh.
coronary, the
Okay.
Seahawks are at 6. Why are they at number 6 when they have the soon-to-be MVP Russell Wilson behind the helm? Well, they're at number 6 because they're last in pass yards allowed, and their defense is garbage. They're currently giving up 28.7 points per game. That is not going to last in the long run, and they need to shape up there.
They're putting up 28.6 points a game.
You like that? Little statistics for you.
Oh,
I'm
you
just-
got to come with
Oh, my
statistics with your
fucking
bullshit
God.
I have to.
rankings.
Yeah.
If you don't come with statistics, then you ain't got nothing because your statistics are flawed and your freaking power rankings are trash.
Yeah, Taylor, he's sleeping on the couch.
Oh my God. Taylor is not allowed to sleep in the
Oh.
bedroom until you come up with better
Eh.
power rankings and get
I'm
to watch
so
some
glad.
football.
I'm so glad that we got through 10 to 6 because now I can actually
Oh my
be
God.
respectable at my 5 through 1. So
No, you're not.
all right.
You're not
Oh,
respectable at your 5-1. You're 1
Oh
and 2.
yeah.
Your 1 and
You're
2 is where
kidding.
you're respectable, and that's it.
I love it.
All right. Jesus Christ. My fucking Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, Reeves, you go. I gotta calm down.
Oh,
You go with
here
your
we
5 to
go.
1.
Now he's got to calm down.
You know,
Sip some
honestly, I don't-
Cabaret.
It must have been Buck who promoted at Twist Benz over there as the NFL power rankings guy.
Yeah,
for the network.
baby.
Luckily,
An
that
elite football mind.
network's going under. I think All Access Sports Network needs a better NFL power ranking.
Way
can
too
just-
much
we can just
umbrella
leave
drinking
that
in Myrtle
with the
Beach.
RTF.
Isn't that
Leave
funny?
him with the RTF.
You definitely.
it.
I agree with Greg Bauman. You made me agree with Green Bay Greg. Look at
Wow,
you.
I can't believe
That sounds
Greg's even
horrible.
watching and he's not
Yeah, I
prepping
know.
for the debate.
I know,
I'm
Greg.
surprised he's not taking a nap.
Well,
Me
it's
too.
tough for him
That too.
because he makes about 6 meals for dinner. So he's back and forth from the kitchen and he's got it. So he's prepping right now. He's gonna have about 6-7 plates sitting there so he doesn't have to move.
He's got the
debate.
chips and dip ready for the debate.
Oh no, he doesn't do chips and dip. He's doing like a mountain of hash browns with nacho cheese, a couple rings of kielbasa.
Look, I'm telling you, if you're watching that debate, you better have a mountain of hash, not hash
Hey, his
browns.
cholesterol
A mountain
is
of
very
hash.
high. All right, coming in at number 5, didn't fall quite as much as you, Combs, but I am going to throw the Baltimore Ravens in there. This is a weekly power rankings, and after watching that game, their defense, like I mentioned earlier in the show, is stout. I mean, they're one of the best. They're a top 3 defense, but Lamar showed that he can be exposed. I mean, his pocket passing emerged last year, which helped him get an MVP at over 30 touchdown passes. And he just looked flustered. So there's better quarterbacks in my power ranking as of this week. I'm sure they will emerge back up to the top. But as of now, they are my number 5 team. Oh, let me get it back here. My number 4 team is the Packers. There you go, Greg. They finally cracked my top 5.
Woo!
Holy cow!
The team that is averaging 40 points a game.
Yeah, I love that. I love
everybody in their path.
I love Green Bay Greg's take on his show earlier. Basically, that he stole from every major sports network across the country, talking about, well, they just drafted Jordan Love to light a fire under Aaron Rodgers' ass. Like, what a crock of shit.
Correct.
No, you drafted him for the future. Aaron Rodgers is going to probably go to your Bears, Combs, and help you win a Super Bowl.
If Aaron Rodgers comes to the Bears,
you'll embrace him.
I'm telling you right now, if Aaron Rodgers comes to the Bears are winning back-to-back Super Bowls.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, you heard it here first. Triple Shot Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Part of the All Access.
When he's 44 or what? Is that when he's coming?
Dude, I don't care if he's 55. He's better than the fucking asshole we just got rid of.
Oh, Big Dick Nick.
And
I said the asshole we just got rid of.
Do you not remember Nick Foles last year?
He's also better than Nick Foles.
Thank you.
Number 3. Where's Soup Boss? The Buffalo Bills.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. They are fucking good, man. That defense, we already knew. I was on about a month ago on with you guys, and we talked about, the Bills overtaking the Patriots, which now we see the Patriots. Is it closer race than we originally thought? Yes. Are the Bills going to still walk away with it? Yes. Josh Allen is finally throwing the ball. He's accurate. We kind of teased when Diggs left Minnesota to go to Buffalo, like, good luck, because he's not going to be able to, hit the broadside of a barn. And he's really emerged as a top 3 quarterback behind Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, not Lamar Jackson, who is my number 5 team. So Buffalo Bills land in my top 3 this week. My number 2 is the Seattle Seahawks. I don't care what your defense looks like, Benz. When you're throwing the ball like Russell Wilson, it doesn't matter what your defense looks like. They're 3-0, and Russell Wilson, they finally let him loose. They let him loose.
Mr. Unlimited.
Look what he's doing.
He's unlimited.
He is unlimited, man. From Benzi's favorite show, the Fantasy Footballers.
Yeah.
And number 1 is Michael Buckheister's team, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Can't go against them.
You
can't go against them.
They'll probably just we'll just cement them as the number one.
And anytime you do go against them, Patrick Mahomes goes out there and does something absolutely insane and throws for, he accounts for 5 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns or 9 touchdowns or however many he feels like scoring that day.
Maybe we should just call him Pat Mahomes on this show, and his mom will tweet at us.
I'm completely convinced that they only scored as many points as they did last night because that's all they needed to score. Like if Baltimore came and Baltimore scored 57 points last night, the Kansas City Chiefs would have found a way to score 67. That's just how they. That's how they go.
What I want to know, Combs, is when you watch Patty Mahomes play and you see all these fantastic plays, and then you see Trubisky out there getting it in. You moved up to get Trubisky. How much does that hurt? Because don't get me wrong. I'm a Minnesota fan, so all I deal with is pain. But for you, what does that feel like as a Bears fan?
Could have had Mahomes.
Watching Mahomes, watching Deshaun. It wasn't even Mahomes. Deshaun Watson was the clear number 1 quarterback in that draft. I give him a pass on not knowing how good Patrick Mahomes was going to be because not very many people knew how good Pat Mahomes was going to be. Nobody knew how good Lamar Jackson was going to be either. So I give him a pass because Lamar Jackson was in that draft too. I give
Everybody
him a pass. I do not give you a pass on not taking Deshaun Watson when you traded up to take a quarterback. It was the dumbest move I had ever seen. I'll never forget it. I'm watching the TV. I had my buddy on the line. I'm like, look, as soon as they make this pick, I want my Deshaun Watson Bears jersey on order. And then they picked Mitch Trubisky. I hung up the phone. I turned off the TV and I went straight to fucking bed. I could not believe when they said the Bears select Mitch Trubisky, University. I said, who?
Yeah.
I did. I shut down off the phone and turned off the TV and I went to. I didn't say a word. My ex-wife is like, what's going on? Why are you so mad? Shut up and bend over. I'm just mad. It was it was horrible. It was horrible, and it's so horrible. Every time that I watch these guys play, watching Lamar, and I wonder how the scouts for the Bears were scouts in the NFL.
Yeah, I love that you missed it because we're in the same division. I could not imagine if Pat Mahomes was a Bear.
Oh my God!
Deshaun Watson would be, just as bad, but not just as bad, but. Yeah.
The Bears would have won 2 years ago when they were 12-4 with Trubisky. They would have won the Super Bowl with Pat Mahomes. They probably would have won the Super Bowl last year with Pat Mahomes. They'd probably be looking for a 3-peat right now with Pat Mahomes. But we got Mr. Trubisky and Big Dick Nick. So yeah.
Saint Nick.
All right.
Get tricked, Nick.
All right. Yeah. So moving on, my 5-1 at number 5. I have the Buffalo Bills. I agree with you, Reeves. They're good. They're really good. And I'm a big believer in Josh Allen. They very easily could have wilted in that game against the Rams when the Rams came back and they channeled their inner Atlanta Falcons for about 10 minutes. But then they came through and Josh Allen let them downfield. That pass interference call was kind of ticky-tack. But after that, he went and got it done. And so I can't look, the Bills to me are a really good team. I just don't think that they're better than the 4 that I have up here. At number 4,
good teams find a way to win. Yeah, and they did it. Bad teams find a way to lose, and that's what
absolutely. At number 4, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, they're really, really good. They're back. Big Ben is back. James Conner is playing unbelievable right now. That defense, like you said earlier, Reeves, is a top 3 defense. And that combination is just sick. I think they're going to win that division. I think Baltimore is going to have to try to find a way to get into a wild card spot because the Pittsburgh Steelers are a really, really good team.
Yeah, the Bills and the Steelers are a lot alike. I look at the Bills kind of as a newer version of the Steelers. You got Josh Allen, who's got that big, thick frame, kind of mobile. He's a lot more mobile than Roethlisberger ever was, but big, strong arm, white quarterback, with a lot of the same schemes, defensive-minded teams with big offenses. So, I like those next to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. At number 3, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Look, I think that they could possibly be, at the end of the year, the best team in the NFC. That remains to be seen. But I definitely think that they could be just that. And Russell Wilson is playing MVP-type football right now. Is he the runner? Is he the runaway leader right now for MVP? My partner Soup Boss would love to tell you that, but I think they're the two guys at the helm at the top two teams that I have are probably right there with them. At number 2, I agree with Benzie. I have the Green Bay Packers. Look, 40 points a game. I trust me, Reeves. I want to throw up every time I say it.
Yep.
I really do. Because
Yep.
I hate the Packers. I don't hate the Vikings. I actually, if I wasn't a Bears fan, I'd probably be a Vikings fan.
Watching your show, I know you're a Vikes fan.
I hate the Packers. I absolutely hate them.
There's nothing worse than a Green Bay guy.
The Packers and the Cardinals for me, man. I like every time I see their apparel on somebody, I just want to beat the shit out of the person wearing it. Like that's how much I hate the Green Bay Packers and the St. Louis Cardinals. So
sad part is most of the time it's your kid.
But Aaron Rodgers is definitely like he's playing MVP football right now. The guy is absolutely tearing it up. I thought with Devontae Adams going down, they were going to be hurting a little bit, and they didn't miss a beat, man. And so the Packers right now are the real deal. I have them at 2, and at number 1 is a no-brainer. It's Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes. He's Pat Mahomes. I mean,
yeah.
I love watching that kid play. I just wish his fiance would shut the fuck up.
Oh, she's a wild one, huh?
Oh my god, man!
Twitter frenzy, bro.
Just shut up, man. Like
the one thing I can't stand
next
about
to his name, they call him his nickname on ESPN is the future Hall of Famer Pat Mahomes. How much more respect do you need?
Oh no, that was his mom too. Remember, because his mom was like, "Stop calling him Pat. It's Patrick."
Oh, Jesus
it's
Christ.
like, oh, come on now.
The one thing I can say I don't like about him is if you watch him run to the huddle from the sideline, or just like frolic in general.
He shuffles. He shuffles.
He's the biggest dweeb in the world. Like no swag at all.
Dude,
like he might have a do-rag
legit,
on under that helmet, but he's like legit a nerd. Like
he legit looks like Darlene from Roseanne.
He runs like somebody I used to chase back in junior high and beat the shit out of. Like seriously.
Oh, bully.
Yeah, oh yeah. And look who's laughing now, Pat. Yeah. Pat. Tweet at me.
Patty 500 million Mahomes.
Yep. You can tweet at me at Got My Own Show.
Yeah. Brilliant.
All right, Benzie. Let's clear this trash. I mean, power rankings.
Yeah, let's get back to it. So at number 5, me and Combs were right on the money with the Bills. Imagine that. Combs and me having something in common.
Wow.
At number 4, I have the Ravens still. Just because of losing to Pat Mahomes, I still think, with Lamar's record in the regular season and with that defense and with the balance, they're a mean team. It will be an interesting test against Washington this week just to see against another good defense, shitty offense, but good defense. It will be a good test to see, can they bounce back? What are they going to do? Are they going to revert back to rushing the ball, or are they going to try to force it through the air? We'll see what happens.
It's not even a good defense. It's just probably one of the best front 4 in the NFL.
Sure. Yeah. Plug it up. So at number 3, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just that defense alone, leading the league in sacks, 15 sacks. Big Ben is Big Ben. He seems to be like he hasn't even missed a step, which is interesting in of itself. I've been really high on James Conner. Mike Reeves can tell you that. Unfortunately, he's made of glass, so you never know what's going to happen week to week. So when I start him and he plays a couple snaps and then rolls his ankle and is out for the rest of the game, I get butt fucked. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I like the Steelers' balanced team in of itself. They're going to be a tough team to beat. And the experience.
Wow.
Yeah, love it. You hear Gus just bitching. My cat Gus just bitching. At number 2, I have the Pack as well, as Combs stated. That gives me a stomach ache in of itself.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is they're second in rushing. Aaron Rodgers has been playing what he's been playing, but they're still just running the biscuit. So that's scary, man. That's super fucking scary.
Which we knew they were going to do, especially drafting A.J. Dillon. It's like that's what they want to do is run the ball.
And then their defense, you got a defense that only gives up 20 points per game. What are you going to do? Aaron Rodgers is going to get you for 21 plus every game, some way, somehow. And everybody thought like the no fans in the stadium would be a benefit to hear the counts and to hear these hard counts. It's almost been the exact opposite. He literally can just manipulate the defensive line whenever he wants. It's just disgusting.
Well,
I
it's
think
only-
you
it's
have
only
to
some
account for
fans
so
in the
many
stands.
weapons. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you have to account for so many different things that you're constantly on edge because you don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
And that, oh my, they're so good.
Yep. Yeah, it's scary. And then at number 1, it goes without saying, you got the Chiefs. So
That's
Yeah.
your main difference with the quarterbacks at the top. We talked about Pat Mahomes, who's got all these weapons. We talked about Lamar Jackson, who really, when he's struggling, can't do much without a lot of weapons around him. And then you have, Aaron Rodgers, who just elevates everybody else to another level. Russell Wilson, he's got elite talent around him too. And Rodgers comes out and he's pissed because they don't draft anybody. And it's like, it doesn't matter. And that's why he's a future Hall of Famer, because he just elevates the play of these, waiver wire pickups, in fantasy football.
Yeah.
and that
no,
too. Go ahead, Combs.
Look, the Kansas City Chiefs and what Pat Mahomes does is nothing we've ever seen in the NFL. We've never seen a dynamic like this. We've never seen a quarterback like this. And as scary as it is to say, as he's only 4 years into his career.
Yeah, third starting.
You feel like you're watching the greatest quarterback to ever play the game right now.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's a scary thing to say, because you still got another 10, 15 years. If he's like Tom Brady, you still got another 45 years of watching this guy play.
Sure. Yeah, it is. It is. It's scary. But like you're going on and saying about Patty Mahomes is, you see it in Aaron Rodgers, you see it in Russell Wilson, you see it in Patty, obviously. When they step up to the line, they read the defense and then they audible. They do their checkdowns. They let everybody know pre-snap what the new plans are. You see it with Kirk Cousins. You see it with all these basic middle-of-the-road quarterbacks. They get the play call in. They break the huddle. They go up there. They snap the ball. Yep. There's no change in any type of formation, any type of blocking. But also you see with those quarterbacks that we were talking about, how composed they are. Even when they get sacked, even when they're playing from behind like Patty is constantly, he knows down 21 points. It's all right. We're still in it. It's the fourth quarter, though.
Yeah.
We're still in it. It doesn't matter.
They had a play last night where they
that if they put the Falcons and they were down by 72 points, they would come back and win that game.
Yeah, and their team is convinced.
They had a play last night where they picked on Patrick Queen, and it was a motion Tyreek Hill where they went play action, looked like they were going to go to Tyreek Hill, and then quick threw it right at Travis Kelce down the center. And it was like all this manipulation where they knew exactly where they were going to go. This play is, we're going to get Patrick Queen to bite.
Yeah.
And we're going to get that 8 yards. And it's like, when you have coaching on your side, it's like, this play, we're going to pick on the rookie linebacker, and it's a guaranteed first down. And it was. And it was this trickery kind of play, but it was super, super easy. And that's why they're the best, and that's why they're going to win another Super Bowl and probably another Super Bowl. They got all their playmakers signed, through the next 4 or 5 years. Yeah, and that's the trouble after that, is keeping these guys together.
The only way to stop this team is if there's an injury. That's the only thing that's going to stop the Kansas City Chiefs from winning another Super Bowl. You lose. You have to lose Patrick Mahomes. I'm convinced that no matter how many weapons he loses, he's going to find a way to win. That's the only way
they still beat
lose.
the Vikings last year without Pat Mahomes. Damn it, I was there.
Yep. I think we lost Benzie. Benzie, you look stupid.
I can do that too.
I think Ben just wanted to quit. All right. So, man, I wanted to give him more shit about his power rankings, but
he's
all right.
horrible.
So we're gonna welcome to the show now. Joining us from Dad's is Michael Draper. Michael Draper, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Hey, man. Thank you for joining us. So we were just going over our power rankings, the NFL power rankings after week 3 here, and it was Benzie's that I just went off. He's got 2 3-0 teams not in the top 10. He's got the 1-2 Saints at number 7. Like I didn't know what the hell he was thinking, so I kind of went off on him a little bit. But
Well, I hope one of those 3-0 teams was not my Tennessee Titans that he didn't have in the top 10.
he did not have the Titans. He did not have your Titans. He did not have my Bears.
Benzie, come on, man.
Yeah,
he had the Niners.
He had the Niners at number 10.
Okay.
Because they just scored so many points and had so many yards against the New York freaking Giants. Me, you, and Reeves could have that many freaking points and that many yards against the New York Giants.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm disappointed about the Titans, man. I mean, I know that they got things in lockdown right now, but they're still 3-0. They've got they've made a pretty good run here, so I would definitely have them in my top 10. Maybe not top 5, but I think they're a top 10 NFL team for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Bears are better than a lot of. I said right now, if the Bears played the Saints right now, the way the Saints have been playing, the Bears would absolutely win that game. That defense is really, really good. They would hold them to under 24 points. And with Nick Foles at the helms, all the Bears needed was a decent quarterback, and that's what they have in Nick Foles. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a very good quarterback, but he's a decent quarterback. And he's a huge step up from Mitch Trubisky. So, all right. So, Reeves, why don't you tell the people where they can find you? I know you've got a debate to go watch and laugh at.
Yeah, I got to get out of my Mike on the Mic hat here that you can catch. I don't know if we have show times on the new network, All Access Sports Network, that debuts October 1st. Check it out, allaccesssportsnetwork.com. But my spinoff show, Mike on the Mic, is a spinoff show from our main show, Twist, the Weekend Sports Talk, with Benzie and Green Bay Greg. And we go live on The Book every Saturday, usually at 11 a.m. Central Time. It's been changing because of Benz's schedule. But you can also check out our website at twistsportstalk.com. Got to go put my mega hat on, boys.
Hey, listen. Hey, you got to give me one of them Mike on the Mic hats, man. Is that a fitted hat? Snapback hat. You gotta give me one of them, man. I gotta put it on. I'm gonna wear it, and I'm gonna wear one of them do-rags that hang down.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a few custom ones. I got the twist hats. I got the Mike on the Mic. That's, when you got a marketing business, you can do all that stuff. So
hey, man. Hey, well, I'll hit you up after the show, and we'll talk about some other
Appreciate
stuff.
the time, Draper. Pleasure to formally meet you.
Yeah.
The Triple Shot Sports. Love the show. Big fan.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, Draper. Thanks for filling in tonight. So Michael Draper is joining us here. Draper, why don't you tell the guys where they normally can find you?
Yeah, so I host the Dad's Watching Sports podcast. So we talk, kind of national sports news, but then we also talk about our lives as dads. So it's myself, Kyle Castles, and Matt Kirk. We all have kids 5 or 6 years and under. And so as you guys can imagine, all the shenanigans that go on in our house. So we talk a little bit about that, about taking your kids to ball games, about just everything that kind of goes on. If, you're looking forward to watching a game and then a kid gets sick or something like that. So we talk about that kind of stuff. And then obviously the biggest news in sports, which it was kind of ironic that we launched that show Super Bowl Sunday, got a good month in, and then everything shut down. And so we had to dive deep into the bag of topics over the past 6 months, but it's been fun. And now we have almost too many sports to talk about, which is awesome. So we stream live on Sundays at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern here on the RTF Sports Network page and then our Facebook page. And then I believe we're Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central for right now on RTF. And looking forward to see where we end up on the All Access lineup as well. So but it's Dad's Watching Sports. You can download the show anywhere you want.
Yeah, man, it's a good show. I've listened to you guys quite a few times. I really enjoy the banter with you guys, especially I'm a dad as well. If you've watched our show at all, you always see my son Alan comments. I'm a diehard Cubs fan, as you can tell from the backdrop.
Absolutely.
But he always comments because he likes to go against me and always comments go Cardinals. So week after week, I keep threatening to send him to Adrian Peterson's house to take care of that. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got kids too, so I relate to a lot of stuff that you guys talk about, and it's really good stuff. So for all you Triple Shot Sports fans out there, definitely check out Dad's Watching Sports. Michael is filling in tonight for Soup Boss, who we hope to have back on Thursday, but we don't know yet. We will see what his schedule brings. Michael, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get into some baseball talk. How about that?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, man. We'll be right back here. Give us about 90 seconds.
Wheels in my head are spinning in a rut. Have to run until my
What?
you here to end. It all will ever end, but there's no time for that. You're running late again, so rinse your face off then. Put your car in gear, and here we go off into the real world, where it's time to pretend. Your time to put that plastic smile on again, and pray to God for the strength to pour into your friends, so hopefully they won't see you falling apart within. Because how can someone who needs help possibly be helping them? That's the deception, and it works so well that the perception is I'm living in heaven, when the truth is every breath in hurts like hell. So hello, my name's Charles Cosetti, and I hope you're ready, cause I can't do this on my own anymore. So I'm asking for your help with holding something heavy, cause I don't want to live anymore.
All right, Michael Jaber. So in case you haven't, I don't know, have you seen any of our show lately?
Not in the past week or two, no.
So we got in trouble because I like to play music on our breaks, and I was, playing some stuff that we weren't allowed to play. So that what you just heard was Mises, who is a YouTube hip hop guy. He's this guy's got an unbelievable message. If you've never listened to him before, he battles depression. He raps about depression. He raps about everyday life, all the stuff, and I hit him up on Facebook and said, hey, I really like your stuff. Could we use it on our show? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and run with it. And so that's the only music we get to play here on Triple Shot Sports. So.
Yeah, I was thinking during the break, I was like, man, I've never heard this before. But yeah, like you said, that's definitely something you're not used to hearing in terms of the message from a rap song standpoint. So I liked it. It was good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So I don't know about you, but I'm a huge baseball guy. I love the game of baseball. I eat, sleep, and breathe baseball. Sunday, everybody's watching football. I did watch the Bears game, obviously, but right after that Bears game was over, I was on MLB Network watching all of the games, getting ready, trying to figure out who's in the playoffs and all that. That's just what I do. It's who I am. And so today, man, was absolutely one of my favorite days of my entire life. We had playoff baseball on starting at 1:00 Central Time, and it's still going right now with the Yankees and the Indians going at it. And the Yankees are up 5-2 last I looked.
They just hit a 2-run bomb, so it's 7-2.
Oh yeah. So hopefully that was Aaron Judge who hit the 2-run bomb, because I put money on Aaron Judge to go deep tonight.
Okay, yeah, I looked over and saw who hit it, but I forgot who it was.
Okay,
but yeah, so it's 7-2.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of my favorite. And then tomorrow, man, I work from home, and I might find a way to say my camera broke, because we do have a camera, so the bosses could see what you're doing and all that stuff and talk to you and all that. I might say mine broke tomorrow, because 8 games starting at 11 a.m. You get the Reds and the Braves, and then my Cubs are playing, and so tomorrow is going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait.
Yeah, it is. I was watching what game was it earlier? Houston and Minnesota earlier, and Tim Kirkshin was on the call, and they were talking about tomorrow and all the games. He said, yeah, tomorrow's going to be the best day of my life. And they were like, wait, didn't you just get married and your daughter just get married? He's like, I don't care. Tomorrow's going to be the best day of my life.
Yeah.
We got so much playoff baseball on. So, yeah, I'll be honest, I've never been a huge baseball guy. I grew up in an area where we didn't have a major league team anywhere nearby. The Braves were kind of the hometown team, I guess you could say, but and then I've moved around a lot. So I lived close to Seattle for a couple of years. So kind of adopted the Mariners for a few years, lived in right outside of Dallas for a few years. So kind of took on the Rangers. And now we're back in Nashville. And again, not really a team all that near, all that close by, unless we can steal a team here in Nashville at some point in time soon. So I have kind of adopted myself as a Brewers fan, which I know as a Cubs fan, you're probably like, I don't want to hear any of that. But that's because I really didn't have any other affiliation. But I like baseball. Yeah. It's a fun sport. I love going to games live. And I've kept up with a little bit of it this year, but I have been watching a lot today for sure.
Those Brewers really backed into the playoffs.
Yes, they did.
With 2 games under 500. But what bothered me the most, and I talked about this on Sunday with Soup Boss, was not that they got into the playoffs, but how the Giants got knocked out of the playoffs. And I've been, I consider myself a baseball purist. I love the game. I don't mind a 5-hour baseball game. I'll watch every second of it. And I love, the chess match, the back and forth, the pitcher changes, all the different things that you can do within the course of a game. But there are some things in the game that absolutely need to change. And the biggest thing is an automated strike zone. The Giants, I don't know if you saw it, but they lost on Sunday. They're down by 1 run, bottom of the 9th. Who knows if they're going to come back and win? You don't know. But 2 straight pitches at the guy nearly at his ankles get called for strike 2 and strike 3. And at that point, as an umpire, you just take the bat out of his hand. You completely alter the outcome of the game with your bad calls. You change the approach of a hitter. You change the approach of a pitcher. You change the way that a game is played just by your calls. And when you call that, and not only do you call that at that point, but with what is on the line for the San Francisco, you have to be aware as to what game you're umping and what it means in that situation. And when you make those calls, man, Major League Baseball has to step up and do something.
Yeah. There's nothing that infuriates me more as a sports fans when the officials insert themselves into the game and dictate the outcome. And I know, especially in a game like basketball or something like that, there's a lot that could go on. But in baseball, like you said, if the batter doesn't even get a chance to make a claim whether it was a strike or a ball, then if the umpire is going to call that, it takes the bat out of his hands, just like you said. And so there's nothing that infuriates me more than an official putting themselves into the middle of what should not have anything to do with them, and making a decision like that, like you said, it ended the Giants season. So it's pretty trash without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And throughout the course of a game, it's one thing if you are consistent, you're consistently calling it high, you're consistently calling it low, you're consistently calling it outside or inside, whatever the case is. That's one thing, because then at that point, the hitters and the pitchers need to adjust. And I understand that. Do I like it? No. But at least you're consistent at that point. At no point in time did you ever call a pitch at that level to be a strike. Mm-hmm. And it's so bad. And you just see the batter, as he calls strike 3 on him, just drops his bat and takes his helmet off and doesn't know what to say. Yeah. Like, because what do you say at that point? Like, you're not going to get him to overturn his call. And you can't. So that's why an automated strike, tennis gets it down to the millimeter in their replays. So if tennis can do that, Major League Baseball can absolutely go to an automated strike zone. Yeah, 110%.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think you'd get some pushback from, kind of like you said, some of the baseball purists that didn't even want replay it in any regard. So I think you'd get some pushback, but I think anything that you can do to better the outcome of games, or just better the play of games, and in this case, give everybody the equal chance to make a play if they so choose to by making that swing. So I agree. I think it's definitely something they should look into and look into implementing for sure.
Absolutely. So the AL wildcard round started today. We had a slew of good games. One of the upsets that I picked, I actually picked both 7 seeds to upset the 2 seeds in each bracket. I had the White Sox beating the A's. I've tooted the White Sox horn since preseason. When we were going to have a 162 game season back in February, I said, watch out, this team's going to win the American League Central. And then when we finally got started and it was a shortened 60 game season, I said, this team is going to run away with the division. At one point they were, and then, they had their worst week and a half of the season during the last week and a half. So instead of being the 2 seed, they ended up as the 7th seed. But they're still really good. They're dynamic. Their pitching is good. Their lineup is probably one of the best in the game right now. And they went out and they handled business today, and they beat Oakland 4-1. They hit 3 home runs, and they just looked really, really good today.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch much of that game, but we talked a little baseball on our dad's show this past Sunday and talked about a little bit about each series, and I thought that the A's would win this series, and I still think they might come through with that, but I think the White Sox, like you said, they may have backed their way into the playoffs, but definitely one of the hottest teams in the league, kind of going into the last stretch there, and I think that series is really, I think that'll go 3 games. I think that's really one of the more highly contested series that we'll see out there. So yeah, I think the A's will pick up a win in game 2. 2, and it'll go 3. But we'll see.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. The Lucas Giolito today had a perfect game heading into the 7th inning before that got broken up on a single by I can't think of his name now. He used to play for the Cubs too. That's why it surprises me. But yeah, no, he broke it up. They ended up scoring 1 run in the 9th inning, but could not come back. Then we have the team that everybody's rooting for against the Astros and the Minnesota Twins. And they went out and they laid an egg at home. Best home record in baseball this season. And they get a home game against the Houston Astros. And the bullpen just blows it in the 8th inning. They gave up 3 runs in the 8th. Error by the shortstop kept that inning alive for the Astros, so it's really hard to blame the pitching. But the Astros take game 1, and they're up 4-1. I didn't want to pick the Astros in the series, just because the cheating scandal turned me off on the Astros. I get, and it's funny because I am a big proponent of you need to get over it with the steroid era thing. Like I'm a big Barry Bonds guy and all that. But what the Astros did was just on a different level. And that's where I have the problem. I love the fact that Altuve hit like 195 this season. Their entire lineup was struggling. And so it will pain me to see them beat the Cleveland or the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins were reeling the last 2 weeks of the season as well. So it does not surprise me that they continue to struggle.
Yeah, the Twins, man, for whatever reason, they just cannot get over the hump. I think I saw a stat during that game that they'd lost like 15 straight playoff games and had lost, I think, 5 or 6 straight series. And so, and this is, a couple of years back, they were one of the best teams heading into the playoffs, and I believe the Yankees took them out. But yeah, it's the Twins. You want them to win because of, like you said, the Astros cheating, and it's kind of poetic justice in the fact that their players struggled so mightily this year, and you get to say, okay, when you're not banging on a trash can and know what's coming, it's a lot harder, isn't it? So I would love to see the Twins pull off that upset or win that series, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I thought to start that game they really had Greinke kind of looking shaky, and then he kind of settled in and got through, I believe, maybe the 4th or 5th inning, and then they just like you said, the 8th. The Twins just kind of gave it up there. So and I just, man, I really like the Twins, and I like what they bring. They're a feisty team. Preseason, Supos had picked the Twins versus the Braves in the World Series, and I thought to myself, wow, would that be a fun World Series to watch? 2 really young, scrappy teams that are just energetic and fun to watch. So then I came back at them last week, and I said, man, I think you had that one, but I think right now, after the season's over, I think the Padres and the White Sox would be an excellent series to watch. Even though I really hope it's the Cubs and White Sox, but the Padres are just a very young and exciting team to watch, and so are the White Sox. But the Twins just I'm not so sure. They're not out of it. They best home record in baseball this season. They got 2 games left at home. I don't know. I would love for them too. I actually, on our show this past Sunday, I picked the Twins to go to the World Series and play your Cubbies. So I would love for them to do that. But it's going to be an uphill battle for sure.
And then the Rays played the Blue Jays. Look, the Rays, to me, and I know everybody talks about the Dodgers. They like to toot the Dodgers' horns. For me, the Rays were the scariest team entering this playoffs. They have everything from top to bottom. They've got a deep staff. They can throw pitching at you for days. They've got a really deep bullpen, and they can hit. And this Tampa Bay Rays team, I think, is better than I don't think the Dodgers are getting to the World Series. I felt like they lucked out with the Brewers being the 8th seed, because the Brewers were one of 2 National League teams that I thought that they would have played well against in the first round. Otherwise, they were going to be in trouble in the short series. So to me, the Rays are the top team in baseball, and they went out and proved it. Blake Snell was sharp today. Margot hit a home run, and they beat the Blue Jays 3-1.
Yeah, the Rays, they've got a lot to live up to with their NHL counterparts, with the Lightning taking home the Stanley Cup. So, can they channel some good vibes from Tampa Bay and keep that ball rolling? That would be that'd be kind of cool, to be honest with you, to see a city, and especially a small market like that, to win two of the 3 or 4 biggest championships, and then who knows what the Bucks will end up doing as well. So
one of our listeners actually posed that. Yeah, one of our listeners actually posed that question last week. They said, can Tampa Bay have 3 championships this year with the Rays, the Lightning, and the Bucks?" And I said, "Man, I said, don't count out Dallas, but the Lightning are probably the biggest one that can go and do it. They're probably going to get it done.
Yeah.
And the Rays are really good, but they've got a lot of competition in that American League." And then I think that the World Series winner is coming out of the National League, no matter who it is. I think that the National League is just far better than the American League. But if there's one American League that I could see doing it, it would be Tampa Bay. And then the Buccaneers are just, I mean, look, Tom Brady, and they play in a tough division though, so it'll be interesting to see. But it would be funny because Tampa Bay is not one of those powerhouse markets where you're just like, hey, man, I really hate to see what Tampa Bay is going to do all year. It's not like Boston,
Right.
So
that's exactly what I was about to say. I mean, we had our stretch of, the Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, etc., the Red Sox, and now, the fact that Tampa Bay is in that discussion for being a team or a city that could have multiple championships in a year, it's definitely very strange. It kind of fits in with 2020 for sure.
Yeah, and then we have this series here: the Yankees and the Indians. We have the Yankees and the Indians, and I told one of my guys at work, so we do FanDuel, and he's always asking me because he doesn't know much about baseball. He's like, "You got any upsets in this playoffs?" And I said, "Watch the Yankees tonight. I think that if they pull off an upset on Bieber, and those bats come alive, man, they're a scary team for Cleveland to play against right now." And they did it, and they're up 7-2 right now in the 6th, and they absolutely positively look like a team that is, ready to be that Yankees team that we were expecting to see all season long.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Based off potential, I mean, do you think if every team played up to their potential, are the Yankees, are they the best team? Are they the biggest threat from at least in the American League?
I don't think the Yankees have enough pitching to be the biggest threat. I think Tampa Bay, they've got so much pitching there. And that's what plays in October. It always has traditionally. Pitching beats good hitting, especially in October. And so would I be shocked if the Yankees went on to win the World Series? No, I would not. Because they're the Yankees on paper. They've got the best team, but pitching wise, after Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole hasn't been stellar this year. After Garrett Cole, Tanaka doesn't really scare you. None of their starters really scare you. I couldn't even, to be honest with you, I can't even name their number 3 starter. So if you play up to your potential, I still think that the Rays are the best team in the American League.
Yep,
for sure. So, so getting into the National League games coming in tomorrow. So we've got Dodgers and Brewers. I don't see an upset there. Do you?
No, I don't. I mean, I think the Dodgers are one of the best teams in baseball, if not for a reason, and I think they'll probably win that in 2. Move on pretty seamlessly.
Tim Leonard chimes in and says, "Go ahead and get over the Cubs. Marlins win 2-1." James Paxton is the number 3 starter for the New York Yankees. So I'm just not after Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole pitched pretty well tonight. I think he's still in there from last I saw. So I still think that the Tampa Bay Rays are the best team in the American League. So neither one of us see an upset with Dodgers Brewers. So we got the Dodgers moving on. Reds Braves. Now this is, to me, I said 2 weeks ago, and Supas highly disagreed with me, that nobody wants to see the Cincinnati Reds in the playoffs. Trevor Bauer is on his game. That team is really, really good. I would not be surprised, even though I don't want to see it, I would not be surprised to see Cincinnati in the World Series, because they are just that sneaky and that good. They keep coming at you and they keep finding ways to win. Trevor Bauer might be my favorite pitcher in baseball just because of his antics on and off the field. I mean, the way he comes at people. Dude, did you see a couple weeks ago when he wore those cleats with the trash cans all over him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. And then he wore the ones with the face from the Dodgers pitcher where he's doing after he threw at Correa. And then he tweeted at Correa and said, "Hey, I can get you a pair of these if you want them." To me, that was the greatest. So I love guys like that. So Trevor Bauer might be my favorite pitcher right now. But the Braves don't have good pitching, And I think that the Reds can pull off the upset here. I know Tim Leonard, who I just had on here, he's a big Braves fan, but I think even he might agree with me that the Reds have the real potential to upset the Braves here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Reds are a sneaky, trendy pick to make the World Series, like you mentioned. I think they're pitching, like you mentioned, with Bauer, Sonny Gray, and really their top 3 starters can really get you three wins in a series. And so I think, I would go with the Reds in this series. I think that they're just I think they're kind of primed perfectly. They really kind of finished the season on a high note. It's really kind of funny that we're talking about the Reds and ending a season on a high note, and they have a chance to make some noise. But yeah, I'll take Cincinnati in that series against Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, see, Cincinnati is very sneaky. I kept saying that especially the Dodgers don't want to see the Cincinnati Reds, because if Trevor Bauer goes out there and beats, whether it's Clayton Kershaw, or I think their number 1 starter is going to be, oh man, I do this all the time with names, so excuse me, Michael. But their number 1 pick, whoever pitches, if they lose to Trevor Bauer, they have their backs against the wall, and traditionally the Dodgers just show when their backs are against the wall, they don't have what it takes to overcome it. So I really said the Reds and Dodgers, but I still think the Reds have a chance to beat the Braves. I think the Reds would have had a chance to beat everybody in this bracket except for the Padres in a round 1 matchup. So the other series we have, which is near and dear to my heart, is the Cubs and Marlins. It's 3-6 matchup. It's in Chicago here at Wrigley Field. I'm going to try to sneak into a rooftop and see if I can do that. But that is going to be a fun series to watch. The Marlins are young. They're good. They pose a real threat to my Cubs, man. They really do. They have those strong young arms that the Cubs really struggle with. The Cubs struggle with power arms. Their bats, especially, like your Javi Baez's and your Chris Bryant's, they struggle with guys who throw power and throw good breaking stuff, and that's everything that the Marlins are about. So Tim Leonard's pick of the Marlins 2-1 would not surprise me, even though I did pick the Cubs in this series.
Yeah, kind of similar to the Reds, the Marlins. You look at them and you're talking about the playoffs, and you're a little bit surprised. Not only just from traditionally, it just seems like every so often they have a good year, but most of the time they don't. But then just the way they started off the season, with the COVID and the having to basically miss a couple of games and things like that, they really kind of rebounded nicely. And so I think this is definitely a really good series. I think the Cubs, just because they've been there and done that, they've got a little bit more experience. I think they'll probably end up winning that series, but I think it could go down to 3 games for sure.
And the Cubs bats just came alive in this last series, and it's not like it was a series that didn't mean anything. The Cubs were still trying to win their division. They didn't clinch until Saturday. The White Sox were trying to win their division. They weren't out of it until after the game on Sunday. And the Cubs just went out there and the offense just exploded. So if those bats stay alive and those bats stay awake, they're going to be a tough out for anybody. So we'll see, especially with, you got a guy like Yu Darvish, who is a Cy Young candidate, and Kyle Hendricks, who is always very good. And then your number 3 starter is not very bad with John Lester. So, I love John Lester, especially in the playoffs. He's not the same John Lester he was, a few years back, but I still like him better than I like the Marlins number 3. So we'll see how it goes.
Anytime you can throw out a guy like Lester that's got that experience, especially in the playoffs, it's not going to get rattled early on, more than likely. Definitely a plus for sure.
Daniel Sullivan, Lightning Stanley Cup champs, baby. Yeah. Hey, look, Daniel Sullivan from Infinity Sports is a huge Tampa Bay guy. And he called it way back when the playoffs started. And I gave him a lot of grief for being a homer by saying the Lightning were the number 1 in the power rankings. And he was right. I mean, the Lightning went out there. They did it. Daniel, if you're still watching, buddy, I don't know. We said this a minute ago. Can Tampa Bay pull off 3 rings this year? Can they get the Lightning, the Rays, and the Buccaneers? What do you think? But then the other one that we have here in the National League starting tomorrow is the Padres and Cardinals. God, I hate the Cardinals, man.
I do too. And I'm not even a fan of the Cubs. I mean, I have kind of picked up the Brewers, but I think, anybody that's especially kind of our age that witnessed, the Cardinals is going to have that run in like the early 2000s. And man, I cannot stand the Cardinals. And so I am hoping to God that the Padres can end up winning this series. I mean, the Padres are such a young, fun team.
Yeah.
They've got the future for sure, whereas the Cardinals are probably on the back end of it. But yeah, man, I'm hoping for the Padres to win this series for sure.
I hate the Cardinals every fiber of my being. But that has nothing to do with my pick here. I've got the Padres. Look, I think that the San Diego Padres, and I picked them to win the West this year. I didn't think the Dodgers were going to be as good as they were, especially when, Kershaw went down at the beginning. They had lost David Price because he said he wasn't playing due to COVID. I thought that they were going to be reeling, and they did not. I mean, they didn't skip a beat this year, 40-20 in 60 games. So they were really good. But the Padres are so good. They can beat you in so many ways. They've got good pitching. They've got good hitting. They can steal bases. They can play small ball. They can go long ball with you if you want to. This team is very dynamic. So I have the Padres moving on and playing the Dodgers in the next round. So
on our show, Dad's Watching Sports, we did before the season started, we did like a draft lottery. So each of myself and my two co-hosts got to draft a team. We just did basically a big spin wheel, and my co-host Kyle Castles landed on the Padres. And none of us are this huge baseball fans, so we didn't know a whole lot about the Padres. We even joked about, like, can anyone name someone on the Padres? which none of us came up with a player. And so, but he drew the Padres, and
not even Fernando Tatis Jr.
I know.
Oh, man,
not even Fernando Tatis. And so, like, I was like, I mean, I remember Tony Gwynn. That's all I can really give you. But but we were just hating on him when it happened. We were like, oh, Kyle, you're definitely going to lose this bet, man. Just go ahead and pay up right now. And here they are. I drew the Dodgers, luckily, so I'm in first place. But the Padres really have shocked us, and I think it would be great to see them move on. I don't know that I have them moving on, but I definitely think it'll be a good contested series.
Yeah, see, I don't think that the Cardinals definitely don't have the pitching. Their young stud there that they thought was going to be, out of this world crazy good, the next Cy Young, has not done anything. I mean, the Cubs absolutely destroyed them all three times that they faced them this year. So they don't impress me at all. But yeah, look, man, when you spun that wheel, and I bet whoever landed on the Marlins was probably in the dumps too, and and they shocked the world. Out of all the teams that are in the playoffs, the Marlins are by far the most surprising team in the playoffs.
Yeah,
for sure.
Without a doubt, absolutely.
Yeah. So all right, so there it is. We don't really have too many surprises. I do have both 7 seeds advancing, which is funny because then I have the Cubs versus the Reds and the Dodgers versus the Padres. So you got 2 division rivals in each bracket going at each other, heading into the NLCS, which would be very fun to watch. And then I have the Rays, White Sox, Twins, and Yankees advancing. And I believe you had it the same way, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I can't wait for tomorrow, man. And then I actually have Thursday off of work, and I'm just going to be vegging in front of the TV from 11 to 1 again with all of the game 3s in the American League and the game 2s in the National League. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So your MLB playoffs is my March Madness and like conference tournament. I'm a huge college basketball fan, which is why I'm repping the UK here. And so basically from the end of conference basketball season, so the whole conference championship weeks, and then the first couple rounds of the NCAA tournament, I'd take off of work, glued to the TV. For sure. So
see, for me, March is a lot of fun because I do the same thing. Like I love the March Madness tournament. I like college basketball a lot too. I don't like the NBA, but I like college basketball. And so I get into it, especially come March Madness. Fill out a bracket every year. But not only that, but it's also Major League Baseball starting again. Oh, yeah. I don't take my birthday off, which is March 29th. I don't take that off of work, but I do take opening day off of work.
Yeah.
Priorities. Yeah. And luckily a couple years ago it landed on my birthday. So that was a fun day. But all right, so we're gonna take another quick break, and when we get back, we are going to talk a little bit of hockey. So hang with us, and we will be back here. Give us another 90 seconds.
Can't see the writing on the wall. All on social media, writing down your thoughts, writing on your walls. Shit, I'm guilty of it too. Few comments almost made me come unglued. Had to put my phone down, pick up my Bible, spent time praying in the pews. Spent time praying for the youth, including my now I'm raising two. Boys need to understand what it takes to be a man standing for the truth. When you stand on the truth, don't stand on who you say it to. No one's listening when you listen, they just stand and wait to shoot. So I won't take a knee. I'd rather take two. If that's what it takes to see breakthrough. Okay, cool. No, I don't hate you, but understand why I'm taking two. Knees is one for Jesus, and the other is to make a truth. Where the hell are fathers? Hit it when you get your son and get your sons and daughters. Now your sons and daughters, heaven's sons and daughters. Don't know how to raise them 'cause they ain't been racist daughters. Let's go. Father, where the hell are fathers? Hit it when you get your son and get your sons and daughters. Now your sons and daughters, heaven's sons and daughters. Don't know how to raise them 'cause they ain't been racist daughters. Ladies and gentlemen, the issue we face today isn't a matter of color, but a matter of character. If we're going to fix the communities we live in, we must start in our homes, and it must start with the head of the homes. Fathers, where you at?
All right. That is Mises with Our Father. Another song with another strong message.
Absolutely.
That guy, he's got, I'm telling you, just look him up on YouTube. He's got some great stuff. I will warn for those listeners who aren't Trump fans. I'm not a big fan of Trump, but I'm also not a big fan of Biden. So, but he's definitely a Trump supporter. So he does have a Donald Trump song out there. But he's also got a lot of really good songs with a lot of really good messages that are, you listen to him, you're like, yeah, he's not wrong. So,
yep.
But all right. So the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup last night. I don't know. Did you watch any of the Stanley Cup? Are you a hockey guy?
Yeah, I dabble in a little bit of hockey. I watched games, 5 and 6 for the most part. The first couple of games I didn't get a chance to. I watched almost all of game 5 and thought that they were going to get the win in that game. And the Lightning, they pulled.
They got hosed in game 5.
They did. Yeah,
that penalty call was horrible.
Yeah. I thought that they were going to win that game for sure, and then they came back and really took care of business. I thought it was very interesting. Talking about college basketball right before the break. Their coach had on a Virginia Cavaliers hat in his post-game press conference, and they kind of did the same thing as Virginia did 2 years ago. They lost to the 16 seed, and they came back and won the title. And the Lightning, you got to give them kudos. They went out on such a bad, with a bad taste in their mouth last year, and then were able to navigate through the regular season the best they could, and then really just kind of turned it on. And I think the best team won. They played really well, and I think without a doubt they were the best team, and glad they were able to capture that victory. So.
Yeah, they were definitely the best team. Kudos to the Dallas Stars, though, man.
Yep.
The Dallas Stars. Nobody thought they were going to beat Colorado. I didn't pick them. I picked Colorado in that series. Then they went on to play the Las Vegas Knights. Everybody said Vegas is clearly the best team in the Western Conference, and they went out and beat the Las Vegas Knights. And then they came out and they gave Tampa Bay just about everything they can handle. They're a bad penalty away from a Game 7. Yeah. It was an atrocious penalty call that cost them the game, and so that was a great series. My question is, what's next for the NHL? Because typically their season starts next week. So I don't know what's going on. So I don't know. I haven't really heard as to what their plans are. I've heard some people say December. I've heard other people say February. I've heard some say that they're not coming back till they can put fans in the stands, which who knows how long that's going to be. The election's coming up quick, so it'll probably happen pretty quickly.
November 4th.
Yeah. So that's probably when we can start getting fans back in the stands. But you just ended your season, and I get that they had 3 months off in the middle of the season. So can you come back so early? How long do you give them to have off before you start training camp again and all that? So I don't know what's next for the NHL, and when do they start, and can they get a full season in?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the NHL and the NBA are going to be in the same boat because the NBA usually starts around Thanksgiving time, and kind of gets their ball rolling, no pun intended. And so I think, I thought that this was a great experiment for hockey. We'll talk maybe a little bit about baseball as well and their shortened season later. But I think if you look at hockey and basketball, which have really been on the biggest display here within the past couple of months, man, I think they both knocked it out of the park in terms of just being able to conduct their postseason. Hopefully, going to be able to crown a champion in the NBA, and they crowned a champion in the NHL. And I think when they finish this up, and they probably are already doing this, they're going to look at it and say, man, yes, we had a huge break in our season, and yes, we didn't get all the games in that we normally would, but we had a lot of eyeballs on it. It was a condensed year. People were really excited about it. We came away with a great Stanley Cup Finals, like you said. There was a lot of eyeballs. And so I think they say, you know what, let's figure out what's the best way that we can give these players rest, have our draft, have the rookies come in, have free agency and all that, and then start early 2021, and then just have an abbreviated season again to be able to finish up by June or July when they normally do. So I think, go with what's working, and a shortened season might be what fans want. I don't know that, like you said, that fans are going to be in the stands anywhere. Maybe they will be in some states, maybe not in others, but I think the NHL has got a really good positive end of this season to build off of, and they need to kind of continue to do that. So I think bring them back in, like you said, January, February, give them a couple months off here, and then let them go on an abbreviated season and finish up when they normally would.
Yeah. And look, I was just as excited. I'm a big hockey guy. Hockey's my second sport. Football is my third sport. And then basketball I watch on, highlights. But the NHL, when they started playing in the bubble, man, and you started getting hockey from 11 o'clock until 9 o'clock at night, it was so much fun. I enjoyed every minute of it. Luckily, I get to work from home, so I get to see more than most do. So I got to enjoy it more than most. But it was just, man, the excitement that they have there in an abbreviated season. Look, I don't think the NHL needs an abbreviated season. I think that their season is already really short. The NHL is very much, more than any other sport, has so much parity. When you go into an NHL playoff season, an 8 seed beating a number 1 seed it's common. It happens all the time, and there are no clear favorites when you get into the NHL playoffs. It's whoever has the hottest goalie and can put more points on the board. That's how you win in the NHL. The Dallas Stars are not the most talented team in the Western Conference, but they had the hottest goalie, and they found ways to beat you when they needed to. They were a team that would blow you out and then get blown out the very next game and then come back and beat you 3-2. So they were one of those teams you couldn't get a handle on. So I don't think the NHL needs an abbreviated season, but I think that they're going to have another abbreviated season. I'll be happy to see fans back into the stands. Can you do all 82 games and do it like you just did now, where you play a lot more afternoon games than you normally do? You don't see a whole lot of afternoon games other than on Sundays in the NHL. So I think that there's a way that they can do it. They just have to figure out what they can do and what they want to do, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I also work from home, so I've watched a lot of the afternoon, and this season was probably the most hockey that I've watched in, I don't know, probably 10 years. I'm a Predators fan living here in Nashville and have been for a while. And, they had what was a little bit of a disappointing season compared to what they've done in years past. But even after they got put out by the Coyotes, I just thought it was exciting. And like you said, you could pull up at 2:00 in the afternoon and catch, game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals or whatever. And I thought it was very exciting. So I like the thought of having some afternoon games, of really kind of shortening that season a little bit. I think, again, I can't stress enough, I feel like they had such a good playoff run here in the bubbles, and they were able to get everything through, and it finished up really nicely. And like you and I, there's a lot of people that may not have traditionally watched hockey that had that chance now, because either they're working from home or, unfortunately they were furloughed or something like that. So I think they had the opportunity to get a lot more eyeballs than they normally would, specifically here in the States. And hopefully that pays off for it, because it's a fun game. But I'm definitely ready to get back into the arena and cheer the Preds on, or in your case, I'm sure you guys have
Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks. But it was a good season for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
On that note, game on! Game on! Be real in his
All right, Michael Draper, you probably don't know what that sound means, but that sound means it is time for our favorite game, Way or No Way.
No way. Yes way.
Ooh,
All
I
right,
like the
Michael.
Bill and Ted reference. That's awesome.
So, yeah, Soup Boss is a big fan of that one too. He always sings along with it every time we play it. So, but yeah, so the way we play this game is I have 4 or 5 statements about, some things that are going on in sports. So something that comes to the top of my head, whatever it is, I usually write it down and then, send it to Soup Boss. Let them know this is what we're doing for Way or No Way. I make the statement and then we give our opinion, whether it's a way or a no way. If you completely disagree with it, it's no way. If you agree with it, it's way. Please don't do to me what Wayne G always does to me, and everything is kind of way and kind of no way. So
I'll do my best.
way or no way is the segment here. So the first one first here is I lost it real quick. Give me 1 second here. All right, so the NBA finals are starting tomorrow night, and look, there's no way that the Lakers lose this. The Miami Heat, the Lakers, this was the Lakers. The only reason why the NBA came back to play this thing in the bubble was to get the Lakers the title. The Lakers are clearly the best team. So, way or no way, the NBA finals will not go longer than 5 games.
Let me think about that. How it will not go. So I would say no way. I think it does go longer than 5 games. And why I agree with you. I think the Lakers are they're the best. They're the most talented team. I think that's without question. They have the 2 best players on the floor, if not the 2 best players in the world, in LeBron and AD. But really, when you get past those 2 guys, Danny Green has been very hit or miss. Kuzma, I've never been sold on. If they get playoff Rondo, they're in good shape. If they don't get playoff Rondo, then they're not in good shape. Dwight Howard had a really good series against Denver, but is still, you never know what headspace he's going to be in. Whereas you look at Miami, yes, they're not as talented. If you look at kind of across the board, AD or Dwight Howard's probably on par with Bam. AD is definitely better than their power forward. But Miami just finds a way to get it done. They share the ball really well. They're team oriented. They're not worried about one guy getting his stats or this or that. And they've really bought into that kind of team concept. So I think Miami steals a game or 2 and gets it to 6. I do think LA will end up winning the series. I would love to see Miami win. Just because I think they've been a fun story. I've been shocked, I'll be honest with you, and I'm a big NBA guy. I did not think Eric Spoelstra was that great of a coach, and he has proved me wrong this season. He rode the coattails of what I thought was the Wade, Bosch, and LeBron wave back a couple of years ago, but, man, He's really done a good job of coaching this team up. I think Bam is right on the verge of being an all-NBA guy. I mean, he's really kind of transformed the big man position down there with him being able to play point forward. I think the Miami Heat are going to give him some games. I wouldn't be shocked. I think Miami will actually win game 1. I think LA will come back and maybe win 2 or 3 in a row, but I think it at least goes 6. But I think LA will take it.
Hey, you're giving it more than that. Look, when the NBA wants something to happen, it happens. And the NBA definitely wants the Los Angeles Lakers to win. So if the Miami Heat go and make a series out of this, all of a sudden you're going to see, the Lakers go to the line 75 times and Miami go to the line 10 times. But the Lakers are freaking, they're just good. LeBron and AD is almost unfair. One of the things that I asked Supas last week is, or actually I asked Wayne G when I had Wayne G on, is if the Lakers, or when the Lakers win the title, does AD stay in LA?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say yes, and I think they will. I think not only will he stay, I think they'll probably bring another piece there. Who that ends up being. I think I saw earlier today Bradley Beal bought a house in Los Angeles, so who knows what that means. But I think AD will stay there. I think especially if they win, because they'll want to keep that thing rolling. I think if they lose, it kind of gives him an out. And so I would think, I think he stays there. But again, man, don't sleep on the Heat. I'm telling you, I think that they are going to make this a series.
I sleep on the entire NBA. I'm not going to watch a damn game unless baseball is somehow off that day or something like that. Yeah. So I'll miss all the games, but I'll catch the highlights and I'll still talk about it, on the show every once in a while.
For sure.
All right. So the next one here, we touched on this a little bit earlier. The MLB playoff format absolutely needs to be the new norm.
I'm going to say way. I think that, again, anything that you can do to create some new excitement in the world of sports to get fans that either are no longer engaged or have never been engaged, to get them back into it. I think adding more teams in only brings more fans into playoff baseball. I mean, I know somebody like yourself, even when the Cubs don't make the playoffs, you're still watching probably every pitch, but there's a lot of fans out there. If their team doesn't make it, we're done. And so I think if you can expand it, and allow more teams in it, it only makes things better. I feel like we see that in every sport. In college basketball, they want more than 64 or 68. In college football, they want more than 4. Everybody wants to continue to expand postseasons, and so I think it's a good thing for baseball. It'll be good to see kind of how it finishes up here, and I think most people will probably see it as a positive.
Yeah, it absolutely needs to be the new norm. I said this probably, I think, way back in '94 when they went to the wild card. I said, look, you can't do the wild card and let these other teams have a bye and do a 3-game series or a 5-game series and let the other team sit. You can't do that. And then when they went to the 1 game with the 2 wild card teams, I said, yeah, absolutely, that's not baseball. Baseball is all about 3-game series. All year long, what do you play? You play a 3-game series. Not a best of 1, not a single elimination series, unless you get obviously game 162 to get into the playoffs. But that happens once in a blue moon. So I said a long time ago, a 3-game series all the way through, and adding more teams would bring way more excitement to the sport, and it's going to, and it absolutely should stay. I don't agree with a lot of people who say they need to shorten the season. I think if you shorten it, maybe from 162 to maybe like something like 128. Maybe start May 1st instead of March 26th or something. Whenever you're starting now, and play 128 games or so, and then get into it. But I'm not a big proponent. I love my baseball. Like I said, I'll watch a 5-hour game. I'll sit there. If ESPN's got a triple header on Labor Day or 4th of July or whatever other holiday that they do them, I'm watching all 3 games, whether the Cubs are playing or not. I'm just that guy. I'll watch the Angels play the Astros at 10 o'clock at night and just sit there and watch the game. But I can't just go with a 60-game season. It's not enough for baseball. 60-game season is just not enough. There needs to be a longer period of time for the teams that are pretenders, like the Milwaukee Brewers this year. If they had another 6 weeks to the season, they don't see the playoffs. Or maybe they do, and maybe they come back and they're not a sub 500 team in the playoffs. I do like the top 2 from the division. I was very surprised to see the National League Central get 4 teams in it. I didn't even think they were going to get 3 for a little while, but I was very shocked to see them get 4 teams. But I like the 2 from each division, the top 2 from each division, and then 2 wildcard teams. I think that creates a lot of parity in the game. I think it creates a lot of excitement in the game. It is more than half of your teams making the playoffs, which a lot of people have a problem with. Whenever you start saying, I want more than half of my teams to make the playoffs, then they say, well, what the hell is the regular season for? Well, the regular season is to, take the guys that don't belong there out of it. And that's what it's there for. But you need at least 120 to 130 games in baseball to have true legitimate playoff teams.
Yeah, I agree in the fact that I don't think the 60-game season is the way to go any longer. I like the thought of finding a happy medium. I don't know that 162 is where I would go, but I do think that finding a happy medium in there in between, I think would be good for the fans. I think it's good for the teams. It gives a little bit shorter of a season, gives everybody a little bit more energy for that playoff run. But I think
if you started in May and ended at the end of August, ended your season at the end of August, and you could still get 100. They say, well, then you're only going to get 90 games. And no, because what you could do is you could implement what you do in a lot of places for softball leagues and stuff. Every Sunday's a doubleheader. And play 7-inning doubleheaders like you did this year. And if every Sunday for every team in baseball is a doubleheader, knowingly a doubleheader for 7 innings, not only is that going to create excitement, but that's going to create excitement for the fans that are going to the game. Instead of watching 1 9-inning game, I get to watch 2 7-inning games today. And that's just, you're giving back to the fans that give so much to you. And I think that's where baseball doesn't do a good job of marketing itself. And that's where a lot of people are really falling off. A lot of kids right now, if you ask them who Mike Trout is, unless they are really diehard baseball fans or they live in Los Angeles, they don't know who Mike Trout is. Right. Fernando Tatis could easily be the face of Major League Baseball right now with as much excitement as he brings. Javier Baez, Wilson Contreras. You look at some of these guys over in New York, who's there? Gleyber Torres. Guys like that can really bring a ton of excitement to the game, but they don't market them. And so that's where baseball is failing. They don't need shorter seasons. They just need a better game plan is what they need. So
agreed.
All right. So we just talked about this a little bit. So this way or no way is the NHL will get a full 82 game season in for the 2021 season.
I'm going to say no way. I think they can get close. I think they could probably get, maybe 2/3 of that. But again, I think they've got to have some time off. I think the one thing that a lot of people weren't considering is it's been pretty grueling for hockey and basketball players in these bubbles. Basically every other day for the past couple of months, to not be, surrounded by friends and family, to basically be staying in a hotel, and just not having a whole lot of impact with interaction with the outside world. So I think they owe it to those guys to give them a good long break, to let them heal up, rest up, go on vacation, socially distance wherever they want to and do whatever they want to do. Yeah. But I think they owe it to them. I think they'll need to have some time to get free agency in, the draft in, get players acclimated to their new areas and things like that. So I think it'll be definitely less than 82, but I would say, maybe they do 60 games.
I say kudos to the NHL and the NBA, but more so the NHL, because what you didn't hear of in the NHL once they got inside that bubble, obviously in the NBA and NHL, you had 0 positive COVID tests the entire time. So kudos to them for that, especially in the NBA, where they had guys sneaking out and going to get wings at strip clubs. You're not going to a strip club to get wings. You're going to get breast and thighs. So he was not going to get wings, but they did a great job. The NHL does a phenomenal job. Hockey players are a different breed. Yeah. They are very disciplined. And they love the game of hockey. They will play every single day if you ask them to. And they're nuts, man. Hockey players, they had a guy, was it Peverly a couple years ago at the Dallas Stars, who died on the bench, got resuscitated, and then asked if he could make his next shift.
Of course he did.
They had another guy who died on the bench, and they canceled the game, and they revived him back behind the bench. And then he was pissed off that they canceled the game. Like, dude, you just died. What are you mad about? Yeah. It is insane. So I feel like they're going to find a way to get 82 games in. Whether it's, less off days in between games, whether it's playing more afternoon games, like I mentioned earlier. I think they will absolutely find a way to get 82 games in the NHL. I don't know how they do it, but I think that they'll find a way, and I think it probably starts in December, maybe even January.
Yeah.
So, all right. And then the last one here. This one's kind of a fun one here. I kind of hinted to it earlier when we were talking baseball. But the one team that the entire country, in addition to their home team, is rooting for in the wild card round is the Minnesota Twins. And they are playing the Houston Astros.
Oh, without a doubt. There's every baseball fan, even someone like myself who only dabbles in baseball, everybody is cheering for the Twins to win that series. And if they get beat by the Astros, whoever the Astros play in round 2, everybody will jump on that team's bandwagon. The last thing anybody wants to see happen is for the Astros to win again, because it needs to be sticking our middle finger up to them and saying, you know what, screw you guys. You cheated. You're not as good as you should have been. And get out of here with all that. So,
and that's why the Twins absolutely need to pull this off, because the Astros were the other under 500 team that made it to the playoffs. They've been abysmal. That lineup has been abysmal. They haven't had the use of trash cans and video cameras and all that other stuff. So it's been absolutely abysmal to watch the Houston Astros this season without the aid of the cheating. So this is absolutely a way. It's an obvious way. They're just nobody is rooting for the Astros other than the fans in Houston. That's the only ones who want to see their team win because they want to do the same thing we want to do to them, and they want to put their fingers up. But there's no, you can't. If you're a baseball fan, there's no way you're rooting for the Astros at all.
Yeah,
So,
I bet there's even Astros fans that are like baseball purist fans like yourself that are like, man, I actually hope we lose.
Yeah.
These guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so my son chimes in, says, "Hey, Dad, Junior, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're enjoying the show. Everything that we're doing. No Soup Boss tonight, but we do have Michael Draper here from Dad's Watching Sports. Great show on the RTF network, soon to be the All Access Sports Network, actually starting Thursday. So catch us there. Check out allaccesssportsnetwork.com on Thursday, and we are going to have all sorts of exciting news going on there. Which, by the way, Michael Draper, after we get off this show, just stay on the air with me. I got some things to talk to you about, and briefly,
Yeah,
we'll get through it briefly. But.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it on our show. We appreciate you guys keeping us around, and for the All Access Sports Network, we enjoy not only doing our show every week, but we enjoy dabbling in y'all's show and some of the other shows. There's a lot of really great content, so we're just glad to be amongst great company.
Yeah, there's great things coming with the All Access Sports Network. Big news ahead. So I'm really excited about the direction of the network, the direction of our show, the direction of all the shows on the network. We've got a lot of really good talent, and as soon as we get more eyes on it and more ears on it, it's going to take off. And Barstool Sports and all these other small time sports networks, they better get prepared because we're coming.
That's right. We're coming for them for sure. with our dad jokes in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the last 15 minutes, Michael, we always, leave it up to the fans. Typically by now we're 2 hours in. Not a whole lot of people are hanging on, but we talk about all the things that they want to talk about. We go through all of their comments and stuff like that and figure out, who was saying what and that stuff. But I also like to talk about, other stuff, life stuff, dad stuff. There are a lot of things going on in the world. Tonight we have a presidential debate, which people were, for some reason, excited to watch. Most people, I think, were excited to watch it because of how bad it's going to be. So I think that was a big part of it. I was more excited about the baseball game, but that is an 11-2 game right now where the Yankees are beating the Indians. So I think that's probably about as entertaining as the presidential debate. Mm-hmm. But what are some things going on with you over there?
Yeah, I'm recording the debate because I want to see the dumpster fire that's going to take place on TV.
And you can fast forward when it gets boring, right?
Exactly. Yeah, which it shouldn't get boring, I'm sure, between all the comments from those two. But I mean, our what is going on? Our show, like I said, we talk some dad stuff. So every week we try to incorporate a couple of dad either stories that are related to sports. We've done. We had our wives on for Mother's Day episode, and that was actually one of our highest listened to and watched episodes ever. We've done a couple of brackets, which have been really fun. So we did a sports movie bracket in which 42, the Jackie Robinson story, actually ended up beating, I believe it was Friday Night Lights in the finals. Yeah. So I was a big proponent for what's the name of the movie? Now I can't even remember. The golf movie.
Tin Cup?
Tin Cup, yes. Yeah. I was a big proponent for Tin Cup, but it fell short in the Final Four.
Man.
So we had our sports movie bracket, and then we actually just finished a cereal bracket. We did 32 cereals where Cinnamon Toast Crunch was the number one overall seed. And
wow.
We were pretty chalk through the bracket, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch came out with a win there. So that's kind of the stuff that we like to do. We talk sports. We don't get really in depth. We're more just like, hey, here's what's going on, or hey, here's our top 10, or here's our top 5 and these different things. But a lot of it's kind of dad related. We talk about, I took my son to a football game during the bowl season last year. And, that's always a fun experience when you get a 1-year-old going to a football game. Or, just all the fun stuff that kind of goes along with being a dad. So,
Brandon Jr. chimes in and says Captain Crunch all day.
Captain Crunch.
Well, what kind of Captain Crunch? For me, it's the peanut butter Captain Crunch because fuck the roof of my mouth. I want some
Exactly.
peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Exactly. See, that's what I kept telling people about Captain Crunch is like it
Yeah.
destroys the roof of your mouth.
But you
Like,
don't
how
care.
could
It's
you like
so
it?
good.
Oh man,
Like the crunch berry, oh man, it's so good.
Yeah.
I do like some Captain Crunch. I am a big fan of Raisin Nut Bran, not regular Raisin Bran, but the Raisin Nut Bran with the yogurt covered raisins and all that. Like that's my favorite. So I'm in there. I know. So you're talking about dad moments there. My favorite, I think my favorite moment. I've got a few of them with my kids with sports. I think one of them I took Brandon Jr. there, his first wrestling event, and he was a big Rey Mysterio fan. And I took him. We had seats that were pretty much close to ringside, and I took him up near the barrier there. And Rey Mysterio had just had a match, and he grabbed my son and gave him a big hug, and just the look on his face, man, was absolutely amazing. It's one I'll never forget.
That's awesome.
And then Brandon Jr. and Alan were both so they're my oldest. So I've got 6 kids. And they're my oldest boys. My daughter is 18, Junior is 16, and Alan is 14. And then I have an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So yeah, I've got them all over the place. But
kudos to you.
Yeah, that's another story for another time. But stupid Marine Corps, stupid penis. but no. So Junior and Alan were both on a baseball team, and we were playing for a spot in the championship game, and we were in the semifinals. And Junior had hit a double to tie the game, and then Alan hit the walk-off single. And Junior scored, and then they're mobbing each other on the plate, man. I'm coaching. I have tears in my eyes, and just watching them go through those. Those are the moments we live for as dads.
Oh yeah,
especially with our kids when they start getting into sports, and it's all the stuff that you love watching sports, and all the stuff that you loved when you were playing sports, and then to watch them with their excitement on their face, man. Absolutely a moment that I will never ever forget in my entire life. So that was a good one. Brandon Combs says, "Yes, sir." I'm sure he remembers that too. It's just a good one of those good feelings, as a dad. And then, but now now they're older and they're mouthy and they're teenagers, and you just want to strangle them every single freaking day.
Yep.
My daughter's 18. She just signed up for the Army.
Man, so good for her.
Yeah. So she just. She's an amazing young woman. The stuff that she's dealt with in life and overcome, and to now watch her. She was headed to college, heading to Plymouth State University, and playing soccer and running track, and then she decided to go into the Army instead to help her pay for the college and to do the things that she wants to do. She wants to be a what do they call that when they're when they work in the with fish and game? She wants to be a fish and game officer.
Okay, nice.
And she's going in the Army to be a military police, and is watching her do the swearing for the Army and all the stuff that she's doing, man, it just chokes me up because I'm a Marine myself. And watching her do that stuff is like it just makes you proud, you know what I mean? And
oh yeah,
it's definitely a good feeling. So
yeah, for sure. I'm in a much different stage of life. Our daughter, one thing that our daughter did that I thought was great the other day was she's got this little scooter, and it's got one of the little brakes on the back, and she finally learned how to put her foot down on the brake and stop herself. So, that was a proud moment for me as a dad. I was like, all right, you can actually do this. This is cool. But that's kind of all of our show is about, is like just talking about the fun stuff and the not so fun stuff that we had to do. One of our co-hosts got a vasectomy a couple of months ago, and so we talked about that on the air of like, hey man, how's it going? How are you?
Dude,
how's it hanging?
How did he deal with that? When I got mine, man, I was down for about 5-6 days, man. And people thought I was milking it. Dude, that was not fun. That was not fun at all. And then, my girlfriend, now she talks about it. She's like, oh, you could just get a river. No, I ain't going through that pain again for nobody. Yeah. That was not fun.
Yeah, he had a pretty rough time with it. I think he's a pretty big guy, and I think they had to do some extra tugging around there, and so he had a pretty rough time.
And the worst part is they don't put you out for it like they do other surgery. Like, so the colonoscopy, I've had a colonoscopy. They put you out for that. All they do is a local anesthetic for this,
Yeah.
and you watch the doctor in there, and you start seeing smoke coming up from the solder, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And they just and they do this right in front of you, and they don't put you out, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, it was not fun at all.
No. I've yet to go down that road. I'm not looking forward to it. He did not paint a good picture, and neither are you. So I may hold out as long as I can.
I had a buddy of mine who did it, and he's just one of those guys who's military guy, just thinks he's all, tough, big and bad. And he got his, and he said the next day, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I was feeling great. It's like, oh, this isn't nothing. What the hell's everybody talking about? He's like, I got up and started chucking firewood into the stove. He's like, and then I threw one brick into the stove, and it hit the damn door, and it bounced back and hit me in the nuts. He's like, I lay down for about 7 days straight after that. He's like, I didn't move a muscle.
Oh man, yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely terrible.
It's a good thing because. And I say this all the time, and I'm sure, if your wife's listening, or you could even tell her this after. I say this all the time. Women are way stronger than men.
Oh, for sure.
Way stronger than men. And you put them through enough pain with childbirth and all of that. The least I could do was get the vasectomy, as opposed to, have her do childbirth and then get her tubes tied or whatever the case is. Because you already put them through enough misery as it is. So
yep.
I was like, I guess I can go through this, but then afterwards, I was just like, man, I should have just had you get your tubes done.
You're already used to this pain. I'm not.
Guys are not built for that type of pain. Women are a different breed, man. They deal with that stuff, and it's absolutely insane. I had, have you ever had kidney stones?
I have not. My father has, and tells me they're like awful. But
dude, I got kidney stones one time, and I'm sitting in the hospital, right? And I swear to God, I called my mom, I called my ex, I called my cousin, I called every woman I knew and apologized for all the pain that they go through. I'm sitting there and I'm standing on the bed, and the nurse comes in and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. Get this damn thing out of me." And like, it was the worst pain I had ever been through in my life. And they say that's the male version of childbirth, and that's what childbirth feels like. How do women go through it more than once in a lifetime? I don't know.
No idea. Yeah, sure. We've got 2 kids, and being present for both of those. That's
Junior. I thought this was a sports talk, not sex ed.
Sorry, buddy.
This is real life here.
Yeah. Look, sometimes you just got to get away from it, and that's what the Dad's Talking Sports is all about. And I always like, whenever I have a special guest on, I like to implement some of the stuff that they do in their show into our show too. So it gives our viewers a little taste of what they would hear if they listen to your show more often, and also breaks it up a little bit for us and gives us a chance to talk about something we normally wouldn't talk about. I know Infinity Sports does their Infinity 5, and you were talking about your sports movie bracket. So when I had Wayne G on from Infinity Sports, I talked about our top 5 sports movies of all time.
Yeah.
And for me, the Sandlot just takes the cake. Look, The Sandlot is one of those movies, sports movies, that just brings you back to your childhood. What makes it great what makes baseball great is how much you love it as a kid. And why do you love it as a kid? Because you go to the Sandlot, you play with your friends, you're there all day. The stupid stuff that you do, the stupid stuff that you talk about. You're 9 years old and you feel like you're cool because you're cussing out your friend who just tagged you out at second. Like, that is what baseball is. That's the purity of the sport. So I love a lot of those movies that bring you back to that time. And the Sandlot is just, for me, anytime that movie's on, I will watch the entire damn thing. Yeah. My kids love that movie. My nephews love that movie. It's a timeless movie, and I don't know how that one didn't win your bracket. Was it even in your bracket?
Oh yeah. It was a number 1 seed. I'd have to go back and look and see where it got knocked off. I want to say it actually ran up against 42, maybe the Elite 8, and 42 ended up knocking it out. But yes, I mean, Sandlot's like one of the most quotable sports movies of all time. I mean,
You're Killing Me, Smalls. Exactly. I use that all the time. You're Killing Me, Smalls is my sting.
You don't know what she's doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You play ball like a girl. Oh man, there are so many different times when what's his name there? Squints, when he goes into the pool because of Wendy Peppercorn. Dude, when he first did it, I was like, oh man, it's another one of those kid movies where like, because when I was a kid, I would watch like the Never-Ending Story and all that. So you get like the horse that dies and something that breaks your heart. And I thought that was one of the moments. And then he opens his eyes and winks and then closes them and kisses her. And I'm like, oh, that guy's a genius.
I know.
I gotta try that move, you know?
Absolutely,
So,
yeah. The year that movie came out, there was 1,000 kids doing that at the pool that summer.
oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm 39 years old. I might try that at the beach this summer.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Michael Draper, thank you for joining us. Everybody, we are out of time. We will see you guys on Thursday night. Not sure if Soup Boss will be back just yet, but we will talk about that on Thursday. Have a good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed